Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 160. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zeberwolf. We're going to be talking about Daredevil Born Again, episode 4, and the Invincible season 3 finale, and any other nerdy news in between. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave a like on the video, and if you're watching us on a replay, leave us a comment below and let us know what you think. Without further ado, here we go. Yo, what's up, brother?
What's going on? I just started hearing double audio from my end. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I left the other thing on.
Every lurk is important. Thank you, brother. How are things, bro? How's the week been?
It's been very, very busy for me. I had everything that went on like during the weekend. I basically took a longer vacation than I expected because I was like, it's screwed. It's my birthday, so I might as well just enjoy it. And then came back around work and started doing some extra stuff. Found out what I was like reading up on. I just had a meeting today, and they're like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And I'm like, "This thing." And they're like, "We already have that." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, cool. Why don't I see it?" They're like, "Oh, because the whoever was working on it didn't finish it." Well, great. We'll we'll bitch at them and tell them we need to finish it. So I'm really excited to at least get the ball rolling on that. Stuff like that is always funny. I don't know if you ever dealt with stuff like that, but like it's kind of interesting when they're like, "Yeah, we don't know if we have this kind of product," and then you go check and you're like, "Actually, we totally do. It's just nobody ever used it."
Yeah, not really. It's not really my thing. I'm in a different side of IT. Like, I'm more so kind of the when stuff breaks, let's go fix it sort of thing. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, well, do you work in DevOps at least? Like,
no, not really.
oh,
I'm more so like infrastructure and like desktop support, that sort of thing.
oh, okay, yeah. I'm DevOps, like more so
Yeah,
on the operations side.
yeah,
Technically we're not supposed to be doing developer work, but sometimes we do.
yeah. No, I'm just on the other side of it. So like my company is like it's like a Midas, like managed IT as a service company. So we sell like IT services to big corporations and stuff like that. So
Okay.
part of my job will be going onto a client site and just kind of spending the day out there, kind of doing like fixing their printers and all this sort of crap. All the all
Oh,
the all the
okay.
lovely stuff. So
Gotcha.
yeah. But yeah, look, it's interesting, and no 2 days are the same. So I'm definitely not bored in the place anyway.
That's good.
We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. Um, I know you had said just before we went live that you had a few bits to do today, so we might try and keep this one as short as we can. We got to talk about Daredevil, and we got to talk about Invincible, and then there's a few other little bits, a few other nerdy bits that I wouldn't mind bouncing off you and seeing what you think as well, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. So I think let's just kick straight into it. Daredevil episode 4. I literally just finished watching it, and now we're here. So tell me, what did you think?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think in terms of episodes like this, where it's mainly just like the people that are like expressing their discomfort and their like disdain for the environment that they're currently in is a huge thing. Like, it's a huge thing to talk about. And you know uh, the frustration that you feel when you can't accomplish what you want to accomplish just because you have to go through so many hoops.
Yeah,
It shows like how villains don't want to take forever to just do something that would be very beneficial to their environment. But like, it's like, well, let's how do we do this? It's like, well, you got to either have them all go to jail or have them all dead. So it's crazy how, like, it just starts eating at Fisk over time. Like it's just, I can't do anything because I'm trying to do it the right thing, and
yeah,
you guys are making it so fucking hard. And I just can't fathom the idea of why you would even like people, like the dude getting drunk part, like that was crazy. And the fact that Fisk is like, you're not leaving this. You're not
yeah.
getting out of this. Like, you're staying with me. You're going to stay here because I know you can stay loyal and whatnot. And he's like, yes, Mr. Fisk, I apologize. And then you see the lady in the back, like, what the fuck?
That
Like,
was such that was such a great scene because like like her, because the way you can kind of see her standing between the two of them, she's kind of out of focus a bit, but you can just see the fear in her face. Because like
Yeah,
when he makes that threat, you know that she knows that he means like physical harm.
yep,
And it's like obviously she's been in the game a long time. He hasn't. He's kind of seeing the whole kind of official side of things, and it's working against him now. Whereas that would have been like all these crutches that the official politicians and stuff would be feeling. It all works in his favor when he's on the
yeah,
other side, but now he's being crippled by it. And like even when they're on the site and he's got the plans, and it's like, let's just put this up now, like like why not? And then it's like, well, no, we have to like do this and this and this. We got to get approved. We got to do this. We got to do that. And he's like, well, can we do the first step? And it's kind of
yeah.
like even he's just thinking, oh no, it's fine. We'll cut through the red tape. Like, and she's like, you cannot cut through the tape. Like, there's no way around it. Like, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he handles all that. Like, I don't think he's going to be able to do it his way. I think he's going to have to kind of bend the knee a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'm at the same time I'm rewatching season 3 at the same time as this, and season 3 like of the Netflix show, like he has the FBI manipulated, like he has them working for him. Like, and I just saw the episode where like Nadine goes into the meeting and he sees all the people that Fisk has corrupted, and it's like, oh my god, he's got all you people, he's got something on all you guys. And like, it's like, I'm just wondering how that version, like how that Fisk is going to operate in the office. Like, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. But like that last scene in the show, um and sorry, I'm obviously got to say, like, this episode only aired today, so massive spoiler alert if anyone's listening and haven't watched the episode yet. Like, we're gonna just be going pretty deep on it, so spoiler
Mhm.
alert. But yeah, so like if the scene, like obviously one of the things that I haven't been happy with from the very start is just the whole story with Vanessa and Fisk. I just it feels out of character for the two of them. The two of them, like for the entire Netflix show, no matter what, like he went to prison, she was still loyal, she still stayed with him. Like he literally gets arrested and she has to go on the run, and she's been like for years living in Europe and stuff like that. And now it's like in this show, it's she, he just disappears after getting shot in the face. He's obviously disappeared to heal and stuff and regroup and get a new plan. And in that time, she's like, oh yeah, I don't know if you're coming back or not. And now I'm just gonna sleep with somebody else. And it just felt really weird to me. It's
Yeah,
just it's a weird turn for the characters.
that was definitely a weird change of pace. Like it's like, I don't know if you guys should have gone this direction of like for things, and maybe it was something akin to what happened in the comics. But it's just from what we've seen so far, like Vanessa shouldn't be this way, and just having this short, like I don't know how long it's been, considering like in terms of her waiting, like maybe she thinks that it just took too long. Maybe a year or two is like too long for her, but it's like, if you really like this guy, like shouldn't you be just handling things normally? Like if he's dead, then I get it, but he's not dead.
Yeah, and like that would be like kind of and I don't know if she was trying to allude to that, but like she's like, you were gone, I didn't know if you were coming back. Like, is she saying like, I thought you were dead and I moved on? Like, that's maybe fair enough, but I don't know what the exact time frame of how long he's been missing for. Like
Hmm.
the whole like timeline thing is a little confusing to me. I hope they kind of explain it, because again, like we've seen both Daredevil and Fisk in the MCU already in separate projects. Hawkeye, fucking yeah, Echo, She-Hulk. Like they've been appearing in shows over the last couple of years, and it's like, did those appearances actually happen years ago, or is it like closer to the timeline? I don't know, because like it feels like Matt hasn't been Daredevil in a while. He feels like he's been retired for a couple of years now, and then
Right.
Fisk. How long has Fisk been gone? I think he obviously got shot in the face and like he's got a tiny scar above his eye, but he's like looking pretty good. So how long does that take to heal? Like I presume quite a while. So it'd be nice to know where in the timeline all this sort of stuff happened, because I know if you go onto like Disney Plus, for example, and you like view the MCU in timeline order on the site, like it puts She-Hulk and stuff like very much towards the end of the timeline. So it confuses me a little bit. I'd like a bit of clarity on it if we could get it,
Mhm.
because it would just make it a bit easier to kind of put all the pieces together.
Right.
But that's just me being a ultra nerd. Maybe other people don't really give a shit about that, but like I'm always thinking about that sort of stuff in the back of my mind.
I mean, like who could blame you? Like that stuff really matters, especially like, if you've been following it as well as like Finto and I have, like, I'm pretty sure the audience would agree that like continuity is a big thing. When
Yeah,
we got all the way to Endgame, continuity was a huge thing. Like, we had, maybe there was a couple retcons here and there, but it wasn't like damaging to the timeline or anything. It wasn't that big of a deal. But in terms of like what they're doing now, they're kind of scattered all over the place, and so like it really matters for them to let us know, like, hey, so this happens like after this or before that.
yeah. Well, like connective tissue has been such a key part of the MCU up until after Endgame, as you say. Like, and now it's just over the years just become less and less important and less connected. And I was only I was only thinking about it today. Someone sent me a TikTok and they were talking. It was like a AI generated video talking about Doomsday, and like it was like a kind of fake AI put together trailer. And I was just watching it, and like it had like Doctor Strange and Wong and stuff like this in it. And I'm just like, how are they going to connect all this? Like, let's say this is the real trailer, like, because the trailer's probably not too far fetched. Like, it's probably a lot of what was in this AI generated trailer is probably what's going to happen. But it's like, how do they get there from where they are right now? Like, we don't have that many projects left. We've got Thunderbolts, we've got Fantastic Four, and is that it? Are they the last two film projects before Doomsday? Like, where is everybody else? Like, are they going to spend half of Doomsday just catching us up on where everybody is, and then we go into like a second or third act, and then shit hits the fan, Doom shows up or something, like, and then it's like, who the fuck is this guy? For the most part, like, like, for the average person, and even people who know the character well, like, they'll know, okay, that's Doctor Doom, but it's like, who is he in this universe? Where has he been? What's going on here? So like that's kind of worrying, to say the least.
I mean, that's what I've been trying to tell you this whole time, man. Like, it's just not connecting as well as should. I think they're trying to hit emergency buttons. They hit like way too many of them, and now they're trying to pull back. And
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
once they got like Robert Downey Jr. into the mix of things, like, I think they figured, okay, we're safe now. Let's see if we can try to mend a couple things, add a few shows that might like contribute to what's going to happen later, um, and then shit just happens, randomly. So like it could work, but for the most part, I would say it doesn't, because you don't want any sort of story to go and then this happens. So you want it to kind of like work its way into why this would happen. The
yeah.
consequences, like,
Natural flow.
right. So, the whole like medicinal marijuana episode from South Park. It's like Randy gets cancer in his balls because he needs to go get marijuana.
Yeah, just trying to get rid of cancer, Sharon.
It
So
leads
ridiculous.
to
Yeah, yeah,
leads
yeah.
to unprecedented support, like, proportions, and the fact that he can bounce on them after a while, like, it just reaches these moments of like, this is crazy, and then the ending of when he got the skin removed and
Yeah.
turned it into a coat.
Oh, stuff, man. Disgusting. What a show, though. What a show.
It's so
Um,
good.
to bring it back to Daredevil, like, do you think, like, by the end of this show, like, I know they've done, like, I want to kind of talk to you a bit more about like the overhaul, as now we've seen a little more. Do you think, like, by the end of the show, I don't think there's going to be any sort of like payoff or like connective, like, continuity bits or anything added to this show that's going to lead into anything that's coming up, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Um, like, I don't know if you saw, like, John Bernthal came out and said that he had initially rejected the offer for the role for this show because he had said that, like, it was an inaccurate adaptation of Frank and he didn't want to portray it. And then,
Which,
so that sounds
yeah,
that sounds right. That sounds like John Bernthal. That's correct. We know his passion. We know his, like, kind of want to be correct with it. But, like, a lot of people have been saying, oh, the first episode was part of the overhaul, and then the last two episodes were part of the overhaul, and now it's kind of like, we have Bernthal coming out and saying this, and that would indicate now that episode 4 has been rewritten, because obviously this is the episode where Frank shows up, unless they shot it later and put it in the show, like, mixed it in after, like, in post or something. I'm not exactly sure, but
Mhm.
you know, I don't know. It's just, it feels like what a lot of people seem to be like theorizing and saying about the overhaul. It just seems to not be adding up to what Marvel are saying, and what Charlie Cox and stuff have been saying. I suppose we have to wait until it's all said and done, until we see the whole series and we see exactly what is the final product and what's been put out. Because you know, to me, yes, episode one being rewritten makes a 100% sense. We've got Foggy and Karen in the episode. You know what I mean? They originally weren't there, like that. In stone, that is a rewrite. Episode two, I could believe was part of the original. Same with episode three. I could believe that those two episodes were part of the original. Today's episode, I would say, has to be rewritten, because now, from what Bernthal has said, and I presume Bernthal's going to be in more than one episode. I've seen some set photos of the two of them in costume on the street together. So Frank's not done. He's going to show up again. So that would again tell me that more of the show has been rewritten. So I just wonder, in the rewrites as well, because we know that obviously Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio went to Feige and stuff and kind of said, look, this isn't working. And I respect them for actually making the changes. But I wonder, did they add changes in the backlash leading up to this show? Did they actually put in some more maybe connective tissue because they know that's what the fans want, that sort of thing? That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like, do you think like there's going to be maybe some more, or like some connective tissue of some sort? Like, I know did they mention a scroll, or am I losing my mind? There was a mention of a scroll in today's episode. Like, I think they're kind of like trying to trickle in some historical bits over the last couple of phases of what's been going on, like, and trying to kind of make it feel more at home.
Yeah, it it does seem like I don't recall the scroll thing. I'll have to rewatch. But
You know the scene where he's talking to the guy. He's trying to negotiate your man's plea, and your man's
yeah,
saying, I want probation or something. And I think he mentions a line. He says like something about the cops, and he's like, "Are you sure they weren't scrolls or something like that?" I'm pretty sure. Maybe I was losing my mind, but I could have sworn I heard that. You got me second guessing myself now. Maybe someone in the chat or in the comments could confirm that, if I was losing my mind or not. But yeah, sorry, what were you going to say?
I mean, if they did do a mention of scrolls, that's great. That means that they're aware of what occurred, like in in the past episodes or past series.
Hmm.
And I don't know. Like, in terms of connective tissue, as of right now, it still seems very much like kept within itself. I think there might have been a couple of references here and there,
Hmm.
but like for the most part, I haven't heard anything about like Iron Man. Like, even though Iron Man's gone, like like, speaking of like different heroes that actually exist, like like in New York and not just in like in Queens, like they could have mentioned Spider-Man, but then again, Spider-Man doesn't exist anymore at this point. Or
They did. They
like
did mention Spider-Man in episode two. It was very brief, but they did.
you're right. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. So but like Peter Parker doesn't exist as
Yeah.
Spider-Man, so like that's a good thing. So it's nice. Like they're keeping it. They're keeping certain references here and there, but it's not like expanding beyond our imagination. Like, it should be a world. It can't just be a city or a town. Like, it's gotta
Yeah.
it's gotta branch out for us to even care. Like, oh, okay, so we know that this occurred. I shouldn't have to look at a timeline on Disney Plus that like tells me
Yeah.
like in the order. I should be able to know like,
100%.
oh, yeah, like, wouldn't it be cool if like this happened after the whole Red Hulk's situation? Considering.
I was about to make a point very similar to what you're about to say. Like, there's been many times where we've been watching Fisk on the news, right? So, like, why don't you have a shot of Tiamat Island or whatever, and then it cuts to like Fisk in New York, like, and then it's like, you get a shot of Captain America flying. You just use footage from the fucking movie, like,
Hmm.
you don't even need to shoot anything new. You just literally use a shot from the film, put it on the TV there, and it's like, Captain America saves the day again, blah blah blah, or Captain America defeats Red Hulk in the showdown or whatever in DC, and then it's like over to Fisk now, given a new thing in New York. Like, it's like stupid shit like that. Like, it's such an easy win. Now, I know they had shot a lot of this show before that movie came out, so maybe there's difficulties maybe getting their hands on some footage to use pre-production, or like post-production before official release. But like, come on, if anyone can do that shit, it's Disney and Marvel. Like, you know what I mean? It's all their shit. Like, Feige,
Hmm.
I'm sure, can just give them a clip from one of the trailers that they haven't released yet, And just be like, here, guys, throw that up on the TV when you're just before you put Fisk in the news. Like, it's such an easy win, and it just makes everybody just go, "Oh my god, Captain America's on the TV!" Like, it's just so cool. Like, even the MCU were doing this on Disney Plus, like back when I can't remember what show it was in, but you remember like people were like pausing like the pictures of the papers and they were seeing like guy with claws attack someone in a bar and they're like, holy shit, Wolverine's out there somewhere. It's like shit like that. Like people just love digging into.
Oh yeah,
Like you
they
get
eat that up.
big time, man. And it's just such easy little wins as well. Like I don't know if you caught the little reference at the start of episode 1, but there's like a reference when they're coming out of the offices and they're about to walk to the bar, and you just see the 468 lit up on the wall, and it's like the number of the building beside them. And apparently, like a lot of people are saying that's a reference to issue number 468, where Foggy Nelson fakes his own death. And like everyone's like kind of like, oh shit, yeah, like Foggy's gonna still be alive. He's faked his death and stuff like that. And like he's confirmed to be returning in season 2. So it's like shit, this is maybe adding up a little bit. Because like when they
Cool.
do stuff like that, they usually do it on purpose because they want people like us to be nerding out over this stuff. Like you'll see it, they always do it in the Spider-Man movies where like they'll put like issue numbers as registration plates on cars and stuff like that. Like that's the kind of shit that nerds eat up, like, and they need to be doing a lot more of that. But
Right.
yeah, again, this could turn out to not be true, and maybe we only see Foggy back in a flashback or some shit like that. But it would be cool to see if he did like fake his own death for some reason. But if he does, I have plenty of questions as to why. It's
Yeah.
just plenty of questions. Why and how, So I don't know. Well, it's yet to be seen, I suppose. But it is cool that they are trying to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We spoke kind of offline beforehand, and you had said that you didn't watch episode 3 fully. Can I talk to you about episode 3 for a second?
Yeah,
I know.
dude. Like I said, I don't mind. Like if you
Yeah.
wanna tell
Again,
me stuff.
you've seen episode 4. I didn't want to ruin it for you last week because you hadn't seen it yet, but White Tiger gets fucking assassinated at the end of
Yeah,
the episode.
which is like it's akin to the comics because I believe that is it the child that they were talking to, Ava.
Not sure.
Well, White Tiger is a mixture of
His
Hector and
niece.
Ava.
Right, okay.
So maybe if that's not Ava, because in terms of the comic, Hector and Ava are, I think, brother and sister.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
maybe they could.
he says uncle, or she said like my uncle Hector or whatever. So
Mhm.
I didn't catch her name, but I could look into it. I don't know. But what was mad about last week's episode? I didn't really want to talk about it last week, but I can talk about it now. The actor who played Hector died. I don't know if you knew this, but the actor
Yeah.
is actually dead. I didn't know this when I watched the episode, and I was like so shocked when I saw his death in the episode. I was like, "Holy shit, what the hell?" And then saw an article about it after I watched the episode. And I was like, "Okay, well that makes a lot of sense as to probably why they killed him off. They might have killed him off a little earlier than maybe was meant to be if he had passed away." But like Jesus, like so sad because again, I think I read he passed away at the end of like 2023. Like so, that's how long ago they shot some of those scenes with him, which is crazy. So that kind of confirms again that the scenes with him are part of the original show and not the overhaul.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's wild. I'd love to be. I hope they bring out because the way usually Disney bring out the kind of making of series. I think this one's going to be a pretty interesting one to watch when it's all said and done because you're probably going to get a look at both sides of the production before and prior to the overhaul. So it'd be quite an interesting watch, I'd say. But yeah, RIP to that guy, man. Like I thought he was a pretty good actor. I hadn't really seen him in anything else before that. But yeah, like it's very sad to see him go. And then obviously in the show as well. I thought that was going to be like the reason that Matt comes back, but maybe I think it's going to be Muse that brings him back to in the mask. Maybe I don't know.
More than likely, yeah. And for the also for the fact that like you see that Frank pushes his buttons, but in a way where he kind of needs to hear that like he needs to kind of start knuckling up and stop worrying so much about like like how much he's holding back and worry more about like wanting to save people.
Yeah,
Even if he wants to like kill them, he needs to do something. And I think
yeah,
that's how I felt about Frank at the time. Like, he still did something.
yeah,
Even though he killed people, he still did something. And I think that's what really mattered, like in that conversation. It's like he's like, you're not doing shit. You're just holding back.
Yeah. I love Frank's character, and I think I mentioned it before, but watching them like watching the Punisher character as a father now, like it hits me so differently. Like just his whole family getting taken away from him in an instant. Like it's just I understand every single bullet he fires. I'm there with him, bro. Like I just fully understand it. Like I just it just hits you so different when you have kids of your own. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, my heart breaks for him as a character. And like now when you see him in this show, like again, we don't really know much. I was kind of expecting a little more. I've seen so many like comments online today, like, oh, that scene with Punisher was just absolute cinema and everything. And I was expecting a little more out of it. Like it was a great scene, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, okay, we're finished episode 4 now. And again, that episode was very dialogue heavy. There wasn't really a lot going on. I liked him like training on the rooftop. You can tell he's kind of getting back into the swing of things. And I think
Mhm.
now when we see, Muse's first kill or whatever's going to happen with Muse now, that's going to really drive him to put the suit back on. So I'm fucking excited. And next week we have 2 episodes. So, I think next week's going to be a banger. But, I was just not that I'm not saying there was anything bad about the episode. Like I really enjoyed the episode, but we're 4 weeks in now and we still haven't seen him in the suit in the current times, and it's just it feels like it's dragging its heels a little bit action wise.
Yeah.
But it is great. It's great dialogue. It's great storytelling, and again, we're building some new characters up. Some of them I don't really give a shit about, but it is what it is. But like there's definitely character development happening, and it's going to be interesting. And I think
Mhm.
it'll be nice to rewatch it and binge it. Like if you were to watch those first 4 episodes in like on a Saturday afternoon or something, like how good are they going to feel? How good are they going to hit? If you watch them all at one.
I mean, I agree with you on that because like doing it weekly definitely feels nice when it's a really good show. So when you have like an amazing show that is just gonna like keep hitting you at the end like with the cliffhanger, and it
Yeah.
just feels so good. Like even if you're like, come on, what the like
Yeah.
it's still that excitement because you're like, oh my god, I can't wait till the next episode.
Yeah.
This show so far hasn't really reached that level. So like not having the next episode readily available is just kind of like
Fuck.
causing a little bit of a yeah, it's
Yeah.
causing a bit of a hindrance of like, shit. Well, all right. Well, I guess I got some other shit to do. I got who cares? We'll come back next week. Now, for me, like it's like one of the more popular like animes that came out not too long ago was Solo Leveling,
Mhm.
and like almost every single cliffhanger that they hit at the end of each episode is just like, I gotta wait a week.
Yeah.
Like
That's
it's
that's good. I enjoy that. Like no matter how long the episodes are, if the cliffhangers are good and it has you itching to come back for more, that's amazing.
dude, you seriously got to watch that show. Like literally the in one of the most recent episodes besides like the current one, I think it was the one before it. Literally there's like they're going to an island. They're like they take their top tier fucking hunters and bring them through and they're attacking all the ants and whatnot and they're like this isn't too bad. It's not too bad. Like there's a swarm, like we're taking care of them. We're barely breaking a sweat. And then one of the healers is like, "Oh, let me heal you up." And like they're kind of bantering. All of a sudden there's like this like something happens and then there's like he tries to talk to the person behind him, turns around, their head's clean off. The body falls to the ground. You see like like a shadow with like glowing red eyes, credits. And it's like, "Oh, you son of a bitch."
Yeah. I'm actually watching 1923 at the moment. It's like a spin-off of Yellowstone, and I let a couple of episodes build up. Um, so when I watched it, there was 3 out. I watched the first 2 back to back, and I was like, "Fuck, this is good." I was like, "Wow, this is really good." And then like 2 or 3 days later, I went to watch episode 3, and then the day I went to put episode 3 on, episode 4 came out. So I was like, "Yes, I've got 2 more to watch now." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"This is a nice kind of flow. Like they're proper hour-long episodes. There's a lot going on. It's really good." And I'm just like, "Yes, please give me the next episode. Fuck yeah." And like this show, obviously the Disney model, it's kind of like, you get like an hour-long episode for episode 1. Episode 2 is like 45 minutes. Then episode 3 is like a 42-minute. And then this week was like 54 minutes. And I was like, oh shit, yes, we're over 50 minutes. But then I know like with all these Disney shows, there's like 7 or 8 minutes of credits at the end. So you're kind of
Mhm.
like, really, it's like 48 minutes, but like whatever, let's watch it and see what happens. But for the most part, And again, like my watching my girlfriend, and she kind of like, she's like, this episode's nearly over. We haven't even seen Frank yet. And I was like, I think he's coming now. And it was like that scene where he was going down into his base of operations or whatever. I was like, I feel like he's coming down a second. He'll be right here. And then like again, he walked into the room and there was Punisher. I was like, I knew it was coming, but it just, yeah, it felt like it kind of dragged on a little bit. And again, the two of us were sitting there just going, fuck, we wish there was more Frank in it. Like, I know there's going to be more Frank before the season's over, but yeah, it did feel a little lackluster. It was a great scene. It was a great scene. Great to see him again. Like, fantastic to see him officially in the MCU for the first time. But, you know, it would have been nice to maybe see them have a fist fight for a couple of minutes. And then, you know, it's like the two of them are like, you know, on the floor bleeding like they usually do. Like that's the badger they usually get up to. Like they're usually kicking the shit out of each other, and then it's like, okay, fine, you know, we're not gonna kill each other. Let's, you know, then they have that kind of mutual respect thing, and then they talk. It feels like, I suppose it does feel like the characters are past that, but at the same time, it'd be nice to see them actually throw down. Like I thought when Matt hit him, I was like, oh, here we go. They're gonna have a scrap for a couple of minutes. But yeah, it was just like one hit, and Frank was just like, whatever. He's like he kind of feel like he kind of feels depleted or something. But I'd say something is going to happen. I think he's going to see the dude who's going around wearing his crest. He's going to see that on the news or something, and he's going to fucking flip the lid. I'd say it was cool with the bullet casing where it had his logo on it. I thought that was going to rile him up more than it did. Maybe we'll see a scene of him after Matt leaves and he's looking at the bullet, and maybe it'll start to piss him off a bit. But I'd say he's going to see someone with his bulletproof vest on, and he's going to fucking lose it. I'd say.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Yeah. Well, that's my hope anyway. Yeah. So, like, I look. Yeah, as I say, the show's great. You know, I want more. Next week, I'd say will be interesting because again, we have 2 episodes. I don't know what the length of the episodes is going to be, but if it's 2 like 45-minute episodes, I'll be very happy. Very, very happy. Yo, Daniel, what's up, man? Welcome in. How are you? Rip Eve. Dad is an absolute troll, right? I gotta say this, right? And this is actually a perfect transition into some Invincible season 3 talk. So Dan posted in my Discord last week, or you know, when the episode aired. I think it aired on the Thursday. Now I was working, so I don't get to watch it until like Thursday evening, but it came out on like Thursday morning my time. And he put up something on my Discord and was like, you know, it was a picture of Eve like with Conquest's fucking fist through her chest, and I was just like, oh. I was like, no. I was like, the fucking spoiler. Because I remember last week he wrote this in the chat as well. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm going to ignore this, but I'm hoping he's not actually spoiling something for me here. But yeah, so basically put that in the thing. I had seen it before I watched the episode. And I was just like, fuck. I wish he marked it as a spoiler because I wouldn't have looked at it if it was like, you know, Invincible spoiler and then it was grayed out. I wouldn't have clicked it until I watched the episode. So I was kind of pissed. I'll be real. I was kind of pissed that it happened, and then I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna watch the episode anyway, because like I know I've seen other bits with like panels of her from comic books where it's like she's old and she's in the future and stuff like that. So I'm like, maybe she's not dead. I'm like, you know, maybe I'm being played here, or they find a different version of her or some shit from the multiverse. And then obviously, you know, we see her getting revived in the episode. But yeah, I got a good laugh out of that because I was like, you motherfucker trolled me in my own Discord. Yeah, what did you think of the finale?
Oh, the finale was fantastic. Like voiced by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, that was fantastic.
Yeah, so nice, good. Bro. I love Jeffrey, man. He's such a legend. There was a bit of a discussion on my Discord about the show, and one of the guys in the chat was saying, you know, maybe they're kind of sacrificing some of the animation to get these like top tier actors in to do voice work. And you know, as a big anime fan, what's your opinion on that? Like, would you prefer to have nobody voice actors and better animation, or do you like having Jeffrey Dean Morgan showing up and, you know, like all these like big actors? Like this show's got a lot of big actors in it. Like a lot of Hollywood people are in this show, and you know, me personally, like I love hearing the voices, and I love like knowing actors, and you know, Aaron Paul was in it, and you know, all like pretty much everyone in the show is a big actor, a big TV actor, and so on. Like, do you think? Because I know a lot of anime like just uses like kind of nobodies or whatever, and then they kind of just rely on the story for more. I mean,
it depends on what you're saying, like in terms of nobodies.
Well, I don't mean like big in the anime world. I mean like actual celebrities, you know?
Oh man. I mean, in the US maybe, but like
Mainstream celebrities. I'm not trying to offend anybody here. I'm just saying.
there's some
Like
there's
I
some
don't know.
fucking famous ass voice actors that come in on animes, man, and it's so good.
I yeah. I'll take your word for it. I do agree with you, but you
Did
understand the
okay.
point I'm trying to make.
Right, but let me give you an example. So, did you ever watch, like Howl's Moving Castle?
No,
No? Christian
never.
Bale was like Howl, like Christian Bale.
That's
The
cool.
boy and the Heron, I think it had Robert Pattinson in it. It had like a handful of people. Like I would have the list if possible, but like literally known actors that are in a lot of Studio Ghibli movies
That's
because
cool.
they're like well received, they're well loved, and like they know that it'll get butts and seats.
Yeah,
Um, when it comes to like animes, it's a bit different because like in shows, it's very hard to convey that. It's more so that they give maybe roles to some people that they think will fit well for that. And they do well enough, and then they become well known. So it's very
yeah,
much akin to like the original Star Wars situation, where it's like they become up and coming, and then you get into like the Japanese voice acting, which like you get some of the newbies here and there, but then you have these like seasoned people, like seasoned voice actors. Like the voice actor for Zoro is also a voice actor in like Fire Force. Like it just kind of interchangeable. You'll hear some characters from different shows moving over to different, like to others, and you'll like recognize them. So like I would say that Japanese voice actors are more commonly reused than it
yeah,
is in American voice acting, because with American voice acting they feel like they need to always have somebody different.
yeah,
So it's a really hard thing to gauge, but like in terms of like celebrities, depending on what kind of story they're about to tell, it might require the use of a seasoned celebrity that has like well-known voice acting or has maybe done a little bit of voice acting here and there.
yeah,
I would have never guessed like, Christian Bale to do any sort of voice acting, but like when he was in Hell, like it was so well received. It's like a really good movie. You should really check it out. Howl's Moving Castle, like very, very like well flowing and whatnot. Like Spirited Away, I think there were a couple that had some notable voice actors. So like it's really like that's a hard one to kind of gauge. But like if you were to think about it in terms of animation, it's not a bad idea to use a celebrity if you know that they've had a good like resume.
yeah,
So like someone like Jeffrey D. Morgan, like he's very well known, like with his voice, he's got a good sense of like acting on his shoulders. Like if you put Johnny Depp into anything, like it should convey the same way if even if he's voice acting, because he has that kind of like spin on his end. He can do he can do what he can to like adapt to things. You put Charlize Theron, you should put like like anybody, essentially anybody that you think is like could do voice acting, they probably have done it.
yeah.
Like Ron Perlman is a great example. He's been in a lot of animations, he's been in video games, he's been in a lot of things. So like, in terms of reusability, ours is on a wider scale, in my opinion, than it is, maybe in the Japanese sense. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But like, it's
Yeah.
it's it's hard to tell. But it really is just like I don't know. Do you like if you know that it's going to be like a hit story, you probably want like some of the best voices in the show, right? Some
I
notable.
Yeah, I think so, but I suppose what I'm trying to get at is like, are Amazon potentially like making a mistake by like hiring so many like A-list celebrities to like, do you think they're taking money that could potentially go to animation out of the budget for voice acting? Or
Not necessarily. Like if you like Steven Yeun, does an amazing job playing Invincible. That
fact,
whole the dialogue between him and Jeffrey D. Morgan as Conquest, like at the end of like near the end of the episode as well, the whole like, I see your future. You don't live to see tomorrow, and like
yeah,
Stephen
it was
Yeun
sick.
delivers that beautifully. At
Chloe
that
was.
point, I don't even care about the animation. I just want to hear them have this conversation and talk it through, and like, give me like convey that feeling like, oh shit, like it's gonna go crazy. And even then, like the animation wasn't even that bad, like during that whole situation. Like it was so good.
It was. It was. I thought when I was watching, I was like, okay, this is where the animation budget seems to have gone. It all went into the finale, which I suppose there's nothing wrong with that because obviously it paid off like
Hmm.
tenfold. You know, that I was looking after I watched the episode, I went onto IMDb, it was sitting on a 9.9 out of 10 with like 50,000 votes. Like that is could be the highest rated thing that I've ever seen on IMDb. Like it's insane.
It's really good.
That's how well received that episode was. Um, it was absolutely incredible, like fantastic. And again, to kind of like rehash what we said earlier, like I sat and watched that, and I thought, fuck, I want the next episode so badly. You know, like I just wish we could have more like right now. And obviously, I know we're not seeing new episodes until 2026, which is heartbreaking. But
Mhm.
oh, so good, man, so good. I might go back and like start the show again and just rewatch it. But
Oh
like
yeah,
I'll probably do a rewatch before the show comes back. It's so good.
I
So good.
would.
Yeah.
I definitely. I'm trying to get Katie to watch it, but she's just not a fan of like all the gore and blood. So it's
Yeah. I don't think that's like I don't think it's a serious thing in this show. Like she obviously she wouldn't watch The Boys or anything, would she? That'd have to be
Oh
like
no,
50
she'll
times
watch The
worse.
Boys.
That's crazy because The Boys is actual gore. Like that's
It's
wild.
I would say it's like it's a lot like a lot harsher in animations.
I would I would be the opposite. Like when I see like Homelander like pulling people's actual guts out, I that's like in my face, you know. Whereas like animation, like I don't even think twice about it. It's just drawings, like you know, and like I don't know, maybe it's just I'm years of desensitized reading comic books and stuff or something. I don't know what it is, but like it doesn't hit me with the shock factor at all. Like this
Hmm.
show does have shock factor in it. Like I'll never forget watching the first episode of the show and seeing like Omni Man like just destroying like all the League and everything, like and or the Guardians or whatever they call them. Like
Hmm.
that was a shock, like you know, and I think that was obviously the purpose of that scene. It was to like shock people and go, wow, I'm going to watch more of this. But yeah, I don't. I never think to myself now. Maybe after 3 seasons of the show, anyway, I'm completely desensitized to violence in that show. Completely.
Yeah, I could see that. It's I think it's more so on the lines of like she hasn't really experienced like the positives of that show yet. Like
Yeah.
I showed her I think the first episode, and I think I tried to get her to watch the second episode, and she immediately stopped.
I was gonna say
And
all you got to do is get her to watch episode one, but if she's watched episode one and didn't like it or something, that's interesting.
uh it's mainly because it's mainly because at the very end it was just nothing but blood and gore, and she was like,
Yeah.
"Ah, I don't fucking know," like, but it's I guess it's different depending on like who you have portraying, and I keep telling her like it's fucking it's J.K. Simmons. Like
Yeah.
he's a
King.
fantastic actor. Like amazing like work, great voice acting. Like it just really like he puts
So good.
himself out there really well. And
So good.
I don't know. Maybe she was just like put off by the fact that like she just saw someone's head explode and like some
Yeah.
eyes popping out and whatnot. And like I said, you know, and maybe to each their own. But I would say animation is way more brutal when it comes to gore because they can.
Hmm.
Whereas like with live action, you either have to do props or you have to do CG, and CG will make it look like shit.
Yeah, I think it's expensive either way with live action, and you know, obviously there's a much more um like traumatic, I suppose, kind of view of it in a lot of senses. Like, you know, it's gonna probably disturb more people in live action
Mhm.
than it would in animation anyway. So, you know, you run the risk of that of all that sort of stuff, and then the ratings are probably gonna be higher in live action if you have, you know, people's skulls popping, whereas in animation you can probably do it a lot easier, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Um Yo, what's up? We are live on Twitch right now, by the way. What's up, Ali? How are you? R.I.P. Oliver. This is a different Oliver. I think we're talking about Oliver in Invincible. um, Dan, if you could hear us, I'm just curious, because I know you're a big Invincible fan. You've read all the comics and stuff. Like, what did you think of the finale? Was it everything you hoped for? Reading the books, and did they do a good job adapting page to screen? I'd be curious of your opinion on it. Um, Oh, like yeah, like I think even the episode before was the one with all the marks, wasn't it? The multiverse episode.
Yeah, the multiverse.
Oh, what a back to back, bro! Like wow, like two almost perfect episodes. I think I saw that was sitting on like a 9.8 with like 100,000 votes. Like again, absolutely sensational
Mhm.
scores, and then finale gets a 9.9. Like what a back-to-back 2 week run for Amazon there. Jesus Christ. And like Amazon as well, like they've got Reacher coming out at the moment as well, which is just an insane fucking success. They released some like streaming numbers for that show, like 57 million views, like in the first week or something like that for season three. And like just to put that into perspective, like in the first like 5 days of Daredevil episode one, they had only did like 7.5 million, whereas this is doing like 57 million. Like the numbers of people watching Reacher is crazy. So like Amazon are just like hitting home runs left and right. It's insane. And for some reason, Disney Plus are just losing subscribers left and right, and they just can't get people to watch their shows. It's fucking wild. Like honestly, it's something that I think will be studied in years to come. Like you have a show that was like so fucking popular, like Daredevil, and it just they can't get the numbers. I don't know what it is. Like it's wild. I don't understand it.
They they thought that they had the fan base, and they came to the realization that they can't keep everyone just because it's under the moniker of Disney,
Yeah, yeah. I,
and
I
just
think people
because
are
it's under
sick of
the
it.
yeah, just because it's under the moniker of Marvel. Like you can't just throw that at people and say, you'll like it. It's Disney, it's Marvel. Like it's like, no, I want a good show.
They had that
And
run. They did have that run, like with like phase three, like phase two and three of the MCU was just like banger, 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 like three movies a year, all like $1 billion movies, like they couldn't lose. And then it's
mhm,
like phase four comes out and they introduce Disney Plus and they start filling us full of like shit TV and mediocre movies and new origin stories of characters nobody gives a shit about. And then it's I presume the normal person is just fed up now. So they're probably just like, yeah, I'm not going to bother watching the fucking 16th Disney Plus MCU show that's come out that I don't give a fuck about. I can't
right.
remember. I was talking to somebody about, uh, oh yeah, there's a guy who goes to my gym. He's a trainer in my gym. He might be listening to this, by the way. I don't know. But he was saying to me that he watched Captain America 4 on the big screen, but he didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the TV show. So he's sitting in the big screen going, "Oh, Sam's Captain America now, and he has the shield, and he's got a new suit and everything." Like you didn't even know, like that's where that's but like he'd be like he's a big anime nerd. He's I would say a big nerd in general, but even like someone like him has fallen off the MCU
Right.
because that's how bad it's been over the last couple of years.
It's
So
not on his radar anymore.
yeah, they've no one to blame but themselves, really, I suppose. But yeah, it's just sad to see, man, because like again, we were at the peak of comic entertainment, and it just feels like a show like Daredevil, like again, on the lead up to it, I was just like, even if the show's half as good as it was as the Netflix show, it's going to be the biggest show on Disney Plus, and I don't even think it's hitting number one in the top 10 in Ireland right now, which is fucking crazy to me. Like, I just don't understand it because the show is good. The show's good. Like episodes are scoring high eights, early nines, and they're all
Mhm.
deserved. They're all deserving scores. I don't think people are like botting the fucking views or like the ratings or anything like that. I think it's all genuine and it's deserved. But the eyeballs just aren't on it like they should be, and like I'm presuming like Disney had hoped they would be. But maybe word of mouth will spread, and when it's all said and done, and people like sit back and go, "That was fucking great." It wasn't as good as the Netflix one, but it was fucking good. Then I
Mhm.
think a lot of people might go, "Okay, I'll watch it now." Maybe that's what people are waiting for. It'll just be a binge when the 9 episodes are out, and because maybe they want to view it like that, like they did with the Netflix show. I don't know. Dan's commentary, the end was great, and it was so close to the comics. Like, take notes, please, Disney. Take notes, fucking DC. Like everybody, like you know what I mean. Like it's like we've been. I'm red in the face from saying this shit over the years on this podcast, but it's like you have 85 years of source material there in comic books. Like, just fucking use it. It's right there. The blueprints are there in front of you. The cheat codes are there. Just fucking put them in. It's
And
crazy.
little tweaks here and there aren't going to
Yeah,
really like. It's not going to
modernize
break the
them.
bank.
Yeah, modernize them. Put your own little twist on them, but like the blueprints are there, like the foundations are there for all these like fantastic storylines. And yeah, I don't know, they just seem to not be doing it at the moment. And I maybe they're course correcting. I don't know, but we'll see. I suppose we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, what did you have anything else on Invincible that you wanted to kind of talk about in the finale or anything?
Um. Not necessarily, just that like it really did show like how powerful like some of these Viltrumites are, and how powerful like a Viltrumite can be just by being completely heartless. So like if you were to look at like what Conquest has like talked about, basically he was a very lonely person, but like so incredibly powerful. And the only reason why he became more powerful is because basically he got to do whatever
Time.
he wanted, and because they feared him and they didn't want to like fuck with this flow apparently. Like they were just like, you do what you got to do, man. We'll send you out. If you want to kill a bunch of people, that's fine, but we're not going to hang with that. We're not going to hang out
Yeah.
with you at the table.
Yeah, he's just like a fucking like seasoned war vet who's just seen it all, and with each world that he's destroyed has gotten even more powerful, and just in that sense has just been alive for hundreds of years, and alone and bored. And yeah, I felt kind of felt sorry for him, to be honest, and I suppose that's how good the fucking telling of it was, that like a complete monster you're feeling sympathetic towards, like. So again, just fantastic storytelling. My main kind of pull away from from the season anyway was just like, holy shit, is Eve like the most powerful thing ever? Like, she invincible now? Is she invincible too? Like, it's like, is she now like immortal as well? Like, she can't die. Like, they were kind of mentioning that some of her abilities were locked away in her mind for her own good, kind of like a Jean Grey kind of style shit with the Phoenix. And I'm like, okay, I kind of I respect the vibe of where you're going with this, and I presume she's going to maybe start to unlock more powers and maybe learn that she's immortal. Again, I've seen a couple of um, panels from comics that have kind of shown her in the future where she's, at Mark's side, and he seems to be like, the king of Earth sort of thing, or of a different planet or some shit. I don't know exactly know. Again, I don't know the story, so I'm just kind of putting pictures together, but it's in it. Like, I wonder, is that actually going to happen, or is this like alternate timeline views, or who knows? Like, but I think the possibilities are there that she can survive for hundreds of years. So that's interesting to me. It's a terrifying thought that someone like Mark has to live his life on Earth, and every single person that he knows, his mother, his family, potentially Eve, like, or his girlfriend, or at the time, whatever, they're all going to just die, and he's just going to be left by himself. And like, I think that's what Omni Man kind of says to him. It's like, what do you get attached to these like ants for? Like, they're going to be dead, and you're going to live a lot. You're going to live lifetimes over and over again. They're going to just be dust. So it kind of makes the dynamic with the two of them even better, in my opinion, because like, if she is potentially immortal now, like, at least there's that security there that they can have a relationship and stay together and
Mhm.
build an empire together or whatever. So like, I'm curious to see where that goes. It might never go anywhere, but I'm definitely curious.
Well, I mean, even Mark said it at the end of that like conversation. It's like, what do you think you'll have left then, Mark? And he's like, I'd still have you.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like he's going to be alone forever. It's just the people that he joins with who can live with him. And even if he doesn't get that full time, like he understands, like from his human side, like at least I got to experience that.
Yeah.
And
Facts.
that's, but like immortal seems to be like fucked in the head, like I can't die.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he seems to be like, I love that futuristic episode was great as well. Like, where they went to the future, and he's been driven. He's like the Mad King, just been alive for hundreds of years and left in solitude, and just he's had like 10 wives, and created 10 families, but it's still not good enough, and he just has just lost it. And I think that's
Mhm.
what would happen if you were in that circumstance. Because you everything just keeps dying around you, and you just have to keep resetting. It's a scary concept.
Yep.
Very much so. It's
But
cool.
I mean, you know, then we get to see all the new iterations of like PlayStation and
Yeah, yeah,
Xbox.
yeah. PS fucking 50. Oh, I remember PS1. Yeah, that's crazy. Do you have any other kind of nerdy news you want to talk about? I know you want to kind of end early today.
Just for those of you who are big One Piece fans, I think we only have like about a couple weeks left, and then we're back on the saddle. April 6th is the release for the next set of episodes, and they're going to be off hiatus. The reason why they were on hiatus was partially due to the fact that it was catching up to the manga, but also because they were saying that they want to improve the animations. Which in my head, I was like, do you guys not remember the last couple episodes you just posted? They were fucking it's just straight gas. Like, what are you talking about? Like, improve the animation? How? And it's like, what?
It's good that they want to do that, though. Like, it's a good sign that they continuously want to improve. You know, that can only make it better. It's a good mindset to have,
dude. When we get the chance, like, I don't know if you want to do this offline. Like, I got to show you at least the one scene of a more recent episode.
Yeah,
that is just
to like an episode from season 1, and like just to see the drastic change.
It's night and day, dude.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's ridiculous.
Well, with a show that runs that long as well, you would hope so, right?
Right.
Like, obviously, character development and everything is very important, but I think like a show that goes that long needs to develop in every sense of the word. You know, everything's got to get better.
Right.
Is it worth watching? Oh, Dan, you're gonna start him off on one here now. How many times? Tell him how many times you've watched it.
I'm actually on
watch.
I'm on my 5th watch right now.
Yeah. So when he's done with his 5th watch, he will have watched over 5,000 episodes of One Piece.
Well, to be fair, when I first watched it, it got to around Fishman Island, which was close to 600 episodes. Okay. Second time around, I rewatched it. It got to about 800 episodes.
Fair. So you're at like, what, 1,400 there, so or 1,200 or something.
Yeah.
1,400.
And then the remaining 2 were pretty much close to about 1,100. The reason why is because I tell people all the time that they need to watch it, and then I tell them, like, I'll watch it with you, dude. I will watch it with you. Yeah. Like, just like, if you need someone to watch it with, if you feel much more comfortable to watch things with, like, I'll watch it with you, because it is one of my favorite shows of all time. Mm-hmm. And I will be very sad if it doesn't stick the landing.
To be honest, even like with a show that's gone this long and you have that much of it, it's kind of like me with Supernatural. Like, it's the same sort of story. Like, Supernatural probably didn't hit the land in the end. It's not really their fault. You know, it was during COVID and stuff like that, and they didn't get to shoot the end that they really wanted. And I've heard them talk about the end that they wanted, and it did sound better, but at the same time, the show was kind of declining over the last couple of years. Look, it is what it is, but I think when you get so deep into it, you're just on the ride. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, there's days where you're watching an episode and you're like, nah, that wasn't that good. But you're just like, I don't care. I still love everybody in the show so much. And there's such an attachment to the show and the characters and everything about it that, like, you could sit through a bad episode or a bad season and you're just going to keep going and you're going to keep loving it because you just love the show. You know, it's not like you're not falling out of love with it over one episode or one season or, you know, five bad episodes in a row or something. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm kind of like with Supernatural. So I understand where you're coming from. I really do. But for me, it's just, again, I've never seen an episode of it now. There's like 1,100 episodes. It's just like, it's Everest to me, man. Like, there's like just so much of it. Like, I just know I couldn't do it. Like, you know, I really couldn't. I would need my missus to watch it as well, just because I would need the time to watch it. You know what I mean? I don't have that much free time. Like, if I was to watch like 3 episodes a week, like, it's going to take me years to watch it all.
I mean, 3 episodes a week, that's about an hour a week. That I'm pretty sure you could squeeze out a little bit more than that. Trust me, dude. Like, if you're a One Piece fan and you're talking to someone who hasn't ever watched it, they're going to squeeze out all the fucking math for you and try to get you to watch as many episodes as you can a week. Like, you tell me what your routine is, I'll tell you how many episodes you can watch.
Yeah, but it's fitting it in on top of everything else. Like, you know, there's like, I've so many other commitments to other shows as well. Like, so it's just, you know,
stop adding them. You're adding things on top of the things that we're watching.
You're trying to get me to add One Piece.
Yeah.
So there you go. Can't be adding new stuff. That's your rule. I was that way with Smallville. Yeah, Smallville's great. I loved Smallville. And I actually only rewatched it. Like, I didn't get through the whole thing, but I think I watched the first like 5 seasons, maybe like a year or 2 years ago. And like myself and herself were watching it, and like we were actually pretty hooked into like the first couple of seasons of it. It was really good because I had never seen all of it, and it went up on Amazon for us here. So I was like, let's tuck into this and see if we can actually, you know, get hooked on it or whatever. And like the first couple of seasons were like really good. Again, some of it's just so cheesy and terrible, but like you get over it. CW in the early 2000s, like it is what it is. Like CGI is going to be bad, and some of the acting is awful. Some of the guest cameos are just shit. Like, but and like every story is just like Clark finds kryptonite in the ground, or something happens where he ends up in the lake in a crashed car, but it's like, there's kryptonite at the bottom of the lake, and now he's in trouble. It's like it's just all like, and it's part of the reason why I didn't really like Superman as a kid, like, because it's like he's invincible until there's kryptonite, so it's like everything just had to revolve around kryptonite. It's just a little boring, but
So what happens when you give like a character only one weakness?
exactly, it just becomes bland, and that's why I loved Spider-Man so much more, because he's just getting his ass kicked all the time, and he has to like overcome those obstacles, like, and he's a young kid, and it's a much harder journey and a much more rewarding journey when he gets the win, because it's not just, okay, there's a bit of kryptonite here, once I get the kryptonite destroyed, I'm unstoppable again. It's just, it's, I don't know.
It's well, like I think I've explained this in the past as well. Like DC is literally like gods among men. It's like
Exactly.
literally the gods. Like they are all Adonises and Aphrodites. They look beautiful. They're powerful. They're like, they have almost no weakness whatsoever. And then you look at Marvel, and it's like there's this guy who's like one of the most powerful characters in the fucking world, but he has agoraphobia. And he also has a dark side that can come out at any point and cause problems. And then like, you have this like, oh, this guy gets stronger as he gets, as he gets angrier, but he becomes unstoppable. He might kill the wrong people. He might do this. Like, it's all these things. Like it's so good. Like even Deadpool's a perfect example. Like Deadpool's like crazy strong. He's super powerful, has a high regenerative ability, but he has cancer. And it's so like he can never really like look normal again. Like he's got these ailments, like he's got all these things that like are opposite effects, but like does that stop him from being such a cool hero? No, like he's such a badass.
Yeah. No, I agree. There are some pretty like amazing and interesting characters in DC as well, but I suppose it's the kind of main hitters. Yeah, I'll agree. They're all, except like, I suppose Batman's just like a human nerd, rich nerd, buff rich nerd.
He's a god among the gods. He has contingency plans even on himself.
True.
Like he has plans against everyone. He's literally omnipotent at that point. Like he knows how to deal with everybody, which is fucking insane. And yes, like he is a human, but like he's still at this point of like Barry's honestly like the most powerful, like, superhuman. It literally speed, like the Speed Force is so goddamn incredible.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like it can destroy worlds. And
yeah.
Green Lantern's abilities, like his willpower, like it's only dependent on the amount of willpower you have. And being Hal Jordan, he was one of the most powerful users, but he also was being consumed by Parallax. And that's why I like Hal Jordan the most. Like he's my favorite as Green Lantern, because he has that opposite effect. Like there's always a possibility that he'll give in to the fear.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah, it's cool. Look, I hope that DC can have a good run on the big screen, and we get to see a big few of these characters hashed out correctly, and people actually give a shit about them. It'll be interesting in a kind of cinematic way. Obviously, we know the vast majority of people, like, they like Superman, they like Batman and stuff like that, but it'd be cool to see people get like the kind of Guardians of the Galaxy vibe off like the Green Lanterns, or like a new Justice League or something would be really pretty cool. Like, as a big DC fan, I would love to see it. Yeah. Did you see, again, I'll just, because I know we're over the hour now, did you see the girl from Stranger Things, Sadie Sink? Did you see she got cast in the MCU? She's gonna be in Spider-Man 4.
I still haven't watched Stranger Things, so I don't know who that is.
Okay, so there's a girl who appears in Stranger Things. I think she's in like season 3. She comes into it for the first time. She's a young girl. She's ginger. She's kind of become a big success because of Stranger Things, but she's just been cast, and she's going to be in Spider-Man 4. A lot of the fan base are kind of saying like, oh, maybe she'll be like Mary Jane, and other people are saying, well, technically we have a Mary Jane already. Some people are saying, and a lot of the scoopers are saying that the theory out there is that she's going to be the MCU Jean Grey, which would be quite interesting. Because again, it's like, why is Jean Grey first appearing in a Spider-Man 4 movie? But it's I don't know. It's up in the air. Like, if she was to be like Mary Jane Watson, I think that'd be kind of strange because again, they've like built up like MJ, like Zendaya's character as, Michelle Jones Watson. So like it would be kind of weird if, Peter gets to meet another MJ. It's like, oh, I like this one better now. It'd be weird, right? I saw someone.
I like this one better. This is a new role.
This one's more accurate, let's say. No, but like in all seriousness,
this is the 2006 version, 26 version.
Yeah. I saw a fan theory which I think would actually be really cool. So Mayday Parker is Peter's daughter, and she becomes like Spider Girl in the future and stuff. But someone put out a fan theory that, like, imagine, because again, we kind of know it's going to be like a multiversal story or Battle World story or whatever. Imagine she was actually playing Mayday Parker but like Toby and like that Toby's daughter.
Yeah,
that'd be fucking pretty sick. I would really enjoy that. Like, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, like that's where I'd kind of like to see her. I like, realistically, like, everyone's kind of caught up on the whole ginger thing because she's a ginger, but it's like she can just dye her hair. Like, she could be like fucking Gwen Stacy or something, or like, you know what I mean? Like, she could easily just dye her hair blonde and she could be like, the MCU's Gwen Stacy or something, or she could be like Black Cat or some shit like that. Like, I don't know. I think people are maybe a little caught up on the ginger thing, maybe. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's always a weird situation to think about, like when people are like, oh, comic accuracy, and it's like, yeah, I get that. It's definitely a thing to be concerned about once in a while, but if you put the right characters in, like you put the right actors, it's like, who even cares? It's like, when we were watching Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and we were saying like Harry and Norman are not like, red-haired white males, like, running a corporation. They're they're chill, same characters. I don't even care what they look like. They act like they're comic counterparts. It makes sense. Like, it works. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, like, again, I think they were different, but in a good way. Like, there's not, and I've nothing against that. It's kind of when they're different for no reason at all. I think that's where people kind of get hung up on it a little bit. Like, there's been a lot of kind of controversy about this guy who's been cast as Snape in the new fucking Harry Potter show. Like, he's a black man, and the character of Snape is in the books and in the movies we've seen so far. He's a pale white guy, and that's the story of who the character is. And it's kind of like, okay,
right.
on paper, this does look a bit strange, but like, let's wait and see what happens before we start throwing stones.
Let's give it a chance.
Yeah, let's see what the vision is here before we fucking lose the plot.
Right. But you also get those like really nitpicky people. It's like, it says it in the book. He's fair skin, long hair, and he looks like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've seen some funny memes. Like, again, like, I'm not one to make these jokes, but I'm gonna laugh when I see them. But there's like a scene in the movie where like he's getting bullied by James Potter as a child, and it's like, oh, how's that gonna look on TV when it's like a young black kid getting bullied? And it's like, okay, bro, like, calm down. Like, it's like, I'm sure they'll probably skim over that. They're not gonna show that scene, but like, yeah, like, of course, there's a point to be made there, but like, I think people just need to relax. Let's just see what the fucking story is here and see how it's actually pulled off. Because go on.
Yeah, I get that. I completely get that. I do want to say though that if they don't show that scene, then they're as big of cowards as the people who are like yelling behind the screen saying it should be the exact same thing. Like, if they can't show the same scenes that they showed in the movies, then what's the point? Like, it's not about the color. It's about the person. It's about
Yeah.
like what they went through. It's about all the tribulations and everything. Like Snape had a fucked up like upbringing compared to like the others because he was half-blooded and but you have to show that shows like why he's such a secluded character, why he doesn't trust people, why he has such a hard time trusting Harry, or not trusting Harry, but why he has such a hard time like wanting to help Harry, but he's doing it all for Lily.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't show that, that's like you're addressing the problem in a way that shouldn't need to be addressed because there was no problem to begin with. If you believe in this character and you believe in the actor portraying the character, then go full force. It's not about race. It's about the story. It's the whole process of it.
Yeah, definitely. I just think, like when you hear news like this, people just can't get past that. They just can't get past the color part. And yeah, again, as I say, I'm not gonna fucking make any comments on it until I see the actual end result. But if it turns out that it's only just a casting for that tick box exercise, I'll call it out if that's what it is. If that's if that's all that's there to be shown. If there's no kind of substance to the actual character himself, if it's just a checkbox exercise, like I'll have no problem saying that. But let's hold off the criticisms until we actually see the fucking end result, because he could be fucking brilliant. Do you know what I mean? He could have done an amazing audition, and they could have just been like, maybe they had fucking Adam Driver style person in their head, and then they saw it, they met this guy and went, holy shit, this guy's good, and he's bringing just something we didn't even see to it, so maybe that's what's
better
going
than
on.
Adam Driver.
Yeah, like again, that can easily happen. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, maybe that's what happened. Like I always kind of give that benefit of the doubt to these people, like the casting directors and these creators. Like, and I always say it in the MCU as well. Like when we kind of feel a bit shaky on a casting, it's like they've obviously seen something in the room that we haven't seen yet, and that's why they're going in this direction. Like I kind of trust the process, but
yeah,
let's see what happens.
It's only okay. I get that. Snape versus Potter might be a hate crime. It's only a hate crime if it's done in the name of like racial profiling and again and discrimination. If it's just Snape versus Potter, hands up. You're like, nothing's wrong here.
Yeah. No, it's like if they, I think the whole kind of point of the original post that I saw was, if they do a 1-for-1 recreation of what was in the original movies and what's in the books, it does look like a hate crime when you swap it out. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, to be fair, yes. Like in terms of like the actual book and the movies, it absolutely was a hate crime because they were making fun of him because he wasn't a full-blooded wizard.
True.
He wasn't pure blood. He was half blood.
Yeah, and
he's
he
tainted.
Is a little loser, and he's a little freak and all this stuff, and they're making fun of his appearance and stuff like that, and it's like, technically yes, it is the same thing, but it's gonna look a lot worse if they do it this time around.
If you look at it that way, it'll be worse. If you don't and just see it for the story, it will be fine.
Yeah, true. Yeah, look, I saw some stuff there about Jonathan Majors in the news this week as well. I don't know if you saw this. I didn't really read too much into it, but I think there was some voice messages that were leaked, or some text messages that got leaked, and him basically admitting to some of the accusations that were against him in his case. Now, I know the case has been thrown out, but I think there's some bad light shining his way now again over these accusations, which some of them now he's kind of on video or on audio saying that he did, which I think a lot of people are saying now, because I know there was rumors of him potentially coming back to the MCU and kind of maybe trying to finish off the Kang arc in a little bit of a way, or I'd say maybe now that might not happen at all. It's such a fucking messy situation. Like, it's
why would you record shit like that? Why would you even fathom talking about it even after the case is over? Why don't you just drop it? Because if you got away from it, even if you know you did it and you got out of it and you didn't get caught,
yeah,
shush,
move on.
Shut up. Yeah,
Yeah.
you that's like you stealing candy and walking out and realizing like, holy shit, they didn't catch me. You don't go back to the fucking store and tell them like, hey, I stole the candy.
Yeah, that candy is delicious, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know it's idiotic, but I just wonder, did the stuff come out? Like, is it stuff that came out in the past that's just come to light now? I don't know, but again, yeah, I think it's down to it's just stupidity, man. Like, I think people don't realize that stuff you put out into the world in recordings or text messages or whatever, shit's forever, man. So just you got to be careful what you're saying
Hmm.
online and even privately because the shit can just come out. Yeah, look, I've nothing else to really say. We'll be back next week for episode 161. We're gonna have 2 episodes of Daredevil to talk about. I think we've got the new season of The Last of Us starting in a couple of weeks. We've got obviously Thunderbolts coming up. And I don't really think we've much else, really, to be honest. I think next podcast is just going to be Daredevil, as far as I know, unless there's something else that I'm missing.
Oh man. Oh well, there might be a random show that I think you should watch. It's called Common Side Effects.
I'll take note. I'll take note of it. Is it anime? Is it
No, it's on Max. It's
common
animation, but
side
it's like
effects?
adult animation.
I'll check.
I think it's from Adult Swim.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take note of it anyway.
It's good, man.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm like, like
No,
cutting
no,
you
no,
off
it's good. It's
here.
good. I know. Guys, I appreciate everybody hanging out. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave a like on the video, leave us a comment if you're listening to us on a replay, all that lovely stuff. And we'll see you soon. Take it easy. Bye
Take care,
bye.
everybody. Have a good one.